Today's project is an altered book page spread with free-flowing dangling hearts that are connected by chains. I'm calling this Chained by Love. So let's get started. The process of this can be used in either an altered book or an art journal, either way. So if you want to do it in an art journal and leave off the change, you could probably still do the same technique and apply this to your art journal. Today we're going to do it in an altered book. The first thing you're going to want to do is find your book and then find a page that you want to work in and glue your sets together. So this is one set of 2 pages and one set of 2 pages that I have glued together ready for this layout. And then when I removed a few pages, what I also did was glue together a set of 2 and 2 loose pages. This is for if you're going to do this project with a sewing machine, and we're going to sew on the page and then we're going to glue them in. If you decide that you're not going to sew it in and you just want to apply your hearts, your hanging hearts to your page, then you can skip making 2 sets of separate pages. So it's up to you. Either do it in your book or sew it and add it in. Okay, for making our hearts, what I've done with pages that have been torn out of either this book or another book is put 2 pages together and fold them in half. And then take a pencil and draw your heart. And it can be any size that you want. So draw your half heart and then tear it. This will make a nice jagged, rough edged heart instead of a cutout smooth heart. If you want your heart smooth, you can do that, but for the look of this page, I like the torn out look. And then when you tear it out, you end up with this nifty set of 2 hearts. And then save this too, because you can use this somewhere else in your altered book. These are pretty cool too. And then take a couple more, put them together, fold it, put this along the side like this, and I'm going to mark how big it is, and I'm going to make this next layer smaller. So you go just within, this is where the first one came to, so I just went in about a 1/2 inch. And again, tear them out. So you're going to want to make 4 sets of torn out hearts. Okay, here's your next set. And they go in here like this, and they're a little bit smaller. Save that. And now do it again. Take the next smallest size, put it down here, mark where they are, where it ended, so you know you want to go smaller. And you just keep gradually getting smaller and smaller with your hearts. Tear them out. Okay. And do one more set. Okay, I went ahead and tore out all my hearts, and this is a set of 3. This is a set of 5 sets, and this is a set of 4. So I did 3, 4, and 5 just to vary them up. And you want to do 3, and you can make them any size that you want, whatever fits in your book. It's totally up to you how many layers you tear out and what size. So that's up to you. And because I'm going to do it on free floating pages and use my sewing machine, I'm going to decorate my loose pages. You would want to go ahead and do a background in your book. And this was one of the torn out pages. So I'm going to do a background using that and even use it as a stencil on my page. I love how that looks. So I think I might, I'm either going to glue this down and have color decoration behind it or leave the words and have color on top of it. I'm not really sure which, but I'm going to play around with that and come back and then show you the next steps for adhering these to your book and then the other elements that are going to go along with it. It's up to you how you want to do your backgrounds and your focals. There's lots of videos out there for that. I'm not showing it here just for the sake of the length of the video. I just wanted to show my idea about the hanging free-floating hearts. So go ahead and decorate your pages either loose or in the book, and we'll come back and I'll show you the next step for the hearts. Just to show you what I chose to do for my background, I like this heart thing from cutting out my heart. So what I decided to do was use that as a template. I had this really nifty magazine page that is a picture of a quilt that was a heart. So I used that as a template, this as a template, trace it onto the back, cut it out. I'm going to cover up this page with the text underneath. I'm going to do some sanding and fun stuff. Then I'm going to add paint to this one, and the hearts that I cut out, I'm going to use them over here as like heart focals. So that's what I'm going to do for my heart background. You can do whatever you want. You could do something else. It doesn't even have to be a heart background, but I just thought I'd show you that I thought that was kind of nifty to use your this as a template if you wanted to use that on your page. Okay, I'm working on my backgrounds, and while they're drying, what I'm going to do with my torn out hearts is I'm going to distress the edge of each layer in a different color, and I'm going to go with colors that are in my background so that it kind of coordinates. So I've got 4 colors of Tim Holtz Distress ink that coordinate with my background and my little distress tool. And what I'm going to do is take my distress ink, start on the first layer of 2, and just go around and add a little bit of distressing around the edges. And I'm going to do it on both layers. You could do this with any color of ink you want, or you can do it with walnut stain or whatever you want to do. But if you distress those layers, both layers, and then the next color, use the next color you're going to use. Let's see, I think I want to end up with purple, so I'm going to go with this one next. Go to your next set and do, oops, helps if you put the little pad on here, goofy girl. Okay, and distress that edge. I'm going to go around the whole heart, but this is just a quick demonstration to show you what I'm doing. Then when you layer them, you're going to get the torn edges, but they're going to be, the heart is going to be multicolored edges. So go ahead and distress your edges of your hearts, and then we'll do the next step. Okay, here's my background so far. I'm going to add more to it later, but here are my hearts that I've distressed in my 4 colors. On this one it's 4, but depends on how many layers you want to do, and you do double the layers because when it flares out you are going to see those edges. Now I'm going to take this, and I've stacked them up, and I'm going to put them down on my page where I want them. And then I'm going to take this to my sewing machine, and I'm going to go ahead and do some stitching and go right down through the center of those hearts to stitch just the centers right down to the page. Okay, here's what it looks like with my hearts stitched down. I love it. It's so cute. With these are free floating, and you've got the stitch line down it. Now again, if you don't want to do stitching and stitch your hearts to the page, what you would just want to do is fold them in half and put a line of glue down each section. So here's your hearts, and you'd fold it and you'd glue this and glue that first one into place, put glue on the second one, glue it into place, and so on and so forth. But gluing the first one right down to your page, and then gluing just the centers in, and you could do it that way if you don't want to sew it. The sewing and the stitching looks really cool, but I'm still going to add a bunch more to this and then do the last element of our page. But I just wanted to show what it looked like stitched, and then if you want to glue it, you can do glue. Okay, I've finished my backgrounds. I've inked around all my hearts. I've sewn them to my pages. This one I sewed on first because it's behind, and this one I have just the 3 hearts on it. And now I'm going to go ahead and use Mod Podge and put them into the book before I do add some words to this page, and then do the last step. So I'm just adding some Mod Podge. Oops. Ooh, glad that didn't fall over. And a nice even layer of Mod Podge. And then I'm going to line this up with the edge. Pop that into my book. And get the other one in here. And then I'm going to close my book and set something heavy on it and let that dry. And if you've gotten some Mod Podge on here, be sure that you put your plastic down before you close your book so that your 2 pages don't stick together and you don't damage your background. So close that with your plastic in it and put something heavy on it. Okay, my background is done and I've attached my pages to my book. I went and added another focal, this vintage couple, and it is Grand Duke Alexander and the Princess Dagmar, so I put their title underneath. And then I stamped the words "Chained by Love," and I stamped the love onto another piece of paper out of the book. And then I did some Stabilo shading. And now what we're going to do is add the chains to the hearts. Okay, I have these jump rings. They're just Doris jump rings. And then a piece of chain that is from an old necklace. And what I'm going to use a paper piercer. And I'm going to pierce through 4 layers of paper of one of my hearts. And just put a small hole. And then I'm going to add my chain, put a jump ring on a piece of chain. So you're going to take your pliers and open your jump ring. They're really easy to open. Add a piece of the chain, add the end of the chain like that to the jump ring, and while it's open, you're going to feed that through the hole in your hearts. Kind of like putting on an earring. And then you're just going to take your pliers and squeeze that jump ring closed. You have to be careful not to tear the paper. And what you end up with is a chain on the heart. Okay? And then we're going to go figure out about where the top is, give it a little tiny bit of slack, and you're going to open up a piece of your necklace chain. Now what you're going to do is take a small, this is a hand punch with a really small hole, and I'm going to go through all of my layers of pages and I'm going to punch a hole. And then I'm going to take another jump ring, open another jump ring, and I'm going to go through all those pages with the jump ring. And connect my chain at the top. and close my jump ring. Oh, it's so cute. And what you end up with is a heart that looks like it's chained. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that here and here. Lift up your papers, poke your hole through some of the layers, put in your jump ring, measure how long of chain, add your chain, measure how long to the top, break your chain, poke a hole, put it on here, and do the same thing here. Okay, all done. What you end up with is your hearts on chains that are dangling from excuse me, jump rings at the top, and then the jump rings are into the layers of hearts, and they're hearts because they're in layers. They're kind of lifted off the page. I did stabilo behind them for a little shadow. Really just fun and different layout. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I'd be glad to answer your questions. And thanks for playing along, and hopefully you'll make this in your art journal or your altered book and add some heart love to your pages. I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial and maybe it inspired you to do something different in one of your art journals. Art is therapy, so enjoy the process, and if there's anything I can help with, please be sure to leave a comment and I'd be glad to respond. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest. I have an Etsy account, and then I also have a PayPal me, and so if you feel guided to make a donation to help me along on my art journaling experience and be able to come back and teach more videos, I'm always greatly appreciative of any donation I receive. Thanks for stopping by at Twisted Art Designs, and I hope you had fun, and come back again to see what we do next.